You can try pasting that without admin mode. I'm not sure whether it is going to work or not, but you can definitely try. If it works, it just works. As far as I know, it requires the admin privileges.
No, for me, it just opened while running in admin mode. I just clicked my password in that, and it opened as admin mode only.
So your user might have the admin privileges on your local machine.
Yeah,
That's why. Right. So
because
once I paste this here at the end, I need to press enter so that the script actually gets executed. And once it is done, see what it is showing. There is a drive letter Z, which is mapped to the file storage whose path is mentioned over here. Now, if you go to File Explorer, it should have shown Z drive here as well. If not showing, I just type Z drive here. And if I press dir, see on the PowerShell, I have the access to the Z drive. And that means programmatically also I would have the access. If I want a physical Z drive to be created on my machine, that also is possible. Okay, before that I need to disconnect this. So let's go back to the portal and see there must be some disconnect option also.
Excuse me, sir. The connection is
Yeah,
timing out.
sorry.
Connection is timing out in Windows PowerShell.
Same.
That
same.
probably is because of the bandwidth or
For
the
me,
security
so
policies.
the connection failed, sir.
No, so it shows connection failed for all. Like it shows
Same.
attempting TCP connect, and it shows failed after that.
If you are on
How do we change
VPN,
the
try to
bandwidth?
disconnect and then connect.
What's that?
Try to disconnect your VPN and then try to connect this.
Okay.
So how do we change the port access in this? Because it's showing that unable to access Azure storage account via port 445.
In the script itself, you have the port number. Do you see? So you can paste the script in Notepad and try changing it.
Okay, sir.
That is all because of you know your policies. You are using all official machines, right? The network policy may be blocking. And
Same,
one
sir.
more thing. Here you will require port 445 only because this file sharing works only on that port.
It shows the same error, sir, again after disconnecting the VPN too.
Mm-hmm.
Same for me also.
See here, the disclaimer is already there. The script will check to see if the storage account is accessible via TCP port 445, which is the port SMB uses. If port 445 is available, your Azure file share will be persistently mounted. Your organization or ISP may block port 445. In that case, you may need to go for creating a private VPN connection for accessing this file share on Azure. So point to site VPN, site to site VPN, or express route you have to use. That is a different arena altogether. So if this is not working right now, actually the file share will not work. Maybe what you can try is you can create a virtual machine later on Azure, and you can try this same feature in that virtual machine itself. In the virtual machine, you will not have this error because Azure virtual machine is already on Azure. So it will not be blocking anything. Understood? Just save the script somewhere. Understood?
Will it still require admin privileges on the partial?
If you are doing it in Azure Virtual Machine, you won't require.
Yes, sir.
Basically, Azure Virtual Machine, you access using the admin account only. So you are already administrator there. You won't be using your machine's login or the corporate login, right?
Yes, sir.
So no issues like that there. You can try within the Azure Virtual Machine. Right. So once the file system is there, probably I can say wait. Okay, so here I want to create a text file. Command is new dash item. You can note down this. And name it as test.txt. The file is created there. I want to add some content to it. So the next command is set content test.txt followed by the actual content. Some sample content. The content will be added. When the file was created, the length was shown as 0. Here I'll say dir again. The length of this file now being shown as 21 bytes. Where do I see this on portal? Here I just need to say refresh. It's there. I can do all the things from here also. Edit, download, edit metadata, delete, etc. Okay, so that is file system. Just like you connect to a network machine, your office server, and you connect to some file share there. It is exactly the same thing. Just that this is on cloud. And being on cloud, the advantage you get here is it is highly scalable.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
The port 445 issue is not due to our company laptops because it's not working in my personal PC as well.
It could be probably because of the ISP also, because the portal itself is saying that straight away, right? It could be your company or the ISP blocking the port 445.
So, but it's working in my case after disconnecting the global protect like VPN.
Yeah, but your and his ISP may be different, right? So different
Yes.
ISP have different policies, correct? It's
Okay.
working for me. I'm using a private connection only. It's working
Okay.
for me, so my ISP is not blocking. It's working for you. That means your ISP is not blocking, but his ISP probably seems to be blocking it.
Okay.
Make sense?
Yes.
Not all ISP give you the uh, port 445 open. You can request them to open it for you. Understood?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I just deleted that file share again here. And now, if you have recorded all the activities like the script and the 2-3 commands which I used to create the file, like new item and set content, 2 commands only I used, you should be able to do that in a virtual machine also once we create it.
So you deleted your file share?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so this is the command you can note down. Remove dash ps drive hyphen name, whatever the drive letter you mapped. I map Z. I just provide Z here. It's gone. It's disconnected from my machine. Okay. So that's about the file share. You just do typical file IO work over there. Well, let's move on to see how
So
exactly we
what is
work with
that command?
remove item, remove dash ps drive, sorry, remove dash ps drive, space followed by name, hyphen name, again space followed by the drive letter. If you put Z, it will be Z. Let me put that in chat.
The file name is text dot.
Drive name you have to give there.
Okay.
Because you are not disconnecting file, you are disconnecting the share.
Okay.
So I put that in chat, just check. If it was Z drive only, if you have not changed the script, just copy and paste this command on the PowerShell.
So this is way we can delete from this partial. Otherwise, we can delete from there also, na, manually.
This we are not deleting the file share. We are just removing the connection from the local machine.
Okay.
File share is still going to be there after this. File share has to be deleted from the portal only.
Excuse me, sir.
Just to show.
Just reiterating, please. I just wanted to know exactly what you did after you connected via PowerShell. You
Once
detected
connected,
creation of new file.
I just created a new file in PowerShell and
Okay.
then just verified that file in the file share on the portal and then just removed everything, just cleaned up.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Those were the steps.
So, but
Fine.
this command is showing error.
Can you share your screen?
Yes.
There has to be a space after drive.
Okay. So how to come out of this?
Control C.
Control C.
Just keep on pressing Control C. Or just close and reopen PowerShell.
Okay. Now Z.
Remove dash ps drive. No, that is not needed.
Okay.
It looks like it is already removed for you. Usually it shouldn't take time. Control C or Control Z, whatever stops this command.
So it's not stopping.
Just reopen again. It actually goes in the retry loop. And
Okay.
until unless that loop is not finished, it doesn't respond.
So I have to paste that command.
Yes. Remove dash ps drive. You can write it. Yeah.
This way.
Yes. That will
Now
remove
it's-
the Z drive.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank
Okay.
you.
So now, so far, whatever we have seen all the solutions which are platform as a service. In none of the case we created a virtual machine or a virtual appliance or a virtual network or anything. Am I right? Do you
Yes.
think, though it is a good thing that allows us to set up everything pretty quickly without wasting too much of time, just by answering few questions, we get everything implemented. But do you think this is going to help us always. It will be able to provide us all the solutions, all the environments, all the softwares, all the platforms.
No, there might be some cases where you need more. Or...
Customized environments we might be looking for, right? Maybe one server which has got Windows operating system with Oracle installed on it. I don't have any platform as a service which does that or which does provide that. Along with Oracle, I might be looking for Eclipse IDE installed on it, which means Java SDK also I'm looking for. There is no platform as a service solution which does provide me this. Maybe I'm looking to create this environment to support the developers. Understand? Don't you think this can be a challenge at times? And just because of this challenge, I shouldn't use cloud. Will that be a good idea? I should go back to the old on-premises solutions. Will that be a good idea?
No, sir.
That is where infrastructure as a service comes in, where you can create your virtual machine yourself. You decide what all software needs to be installed, what all environments needs to be there, what all platforms needs to be supported, what all development features you want to install or testing features you want to install. So practically here you play with virtual machines, virtual networks, virtual appliances for storage, for networking, and for various things. Understood? We already discussed what ES is on day one of this particular leg. I mean, last week, Friday. Yes? So it's all about understanding how it all is done. So for that, if I'm looking to create a virtual machine, and there could be possibly multiple virtual machines which are going to be interconnected to each other, the first thing I need to plan is the network. How the network between them will be created, how they will be communicating with each other. One basic rule you might be aware of, that if one machine wants to read some information from another machine or want to connect to a service on another machine, the two machines must be on the same network. Yes or no? Not only physically, but logically also they need to be on the same network. That's where the IP addresses come in. Correct? Here also it is the same thing. I need to plan a virtual network first. Let's say create resource. Go to networking and see if you have the virtual network option there. If not, just type virtual network. There it appears. Once you select that in the list, you land on this page. Yes?
Yes.
Create. Subscription, select your subscription. Resource group, select your resource group. Name of the network needs to be given. So I'll say this is PROV-V net. Providence Virtual Network. This need not be globally unique because this will be private to your subscription. Region, whatever you have been selecting so far. Clear? Done?
Yes.
Next step is very important. Here we need to plan the address space, which is basically the range of addresses which will be available for the entire network, where I might have multiple small network segments also created. Like if you talk about a 10-floor building which is having some office into it, one single company, each floor I want to be a separate network, but ultimately all these 10 small networks should be connected to each other as well. Each network will have its own server, but then there is a one central server to which these 10 individual servers are connected, and this main server will be controlling the behavior and functionality of the entire network. Understand what I'm saying? Floor 0. Here I have a network. One of these machines might be a server as well. There can be many such machines. They are interconnected to each other. Then there is next floor, which is having a segment of its own. They are interconnected to each other. Next floor. They are interconnected to each other. So I say this is network 1, which is actually a sub network. This is sub network 2. And this is sub network 3. And then what I'm saying is there is a connection beyond this, which is the main network, on which there is a server connected, which basically controls this entire network. Okay. Now when I say address space is something which represents all IP addresses which will be used by the main network. So in a way I can say address space is for the entire network. Okay. And then there is something called as subnet addresses or just subnets. These are for the IP addresses of subnetworks. Understood? Understood? So the first thing it is asking for is address space. IPv4 means IP version 4. The IP version 4 is a 32-bit IP address divided into 4 sections called as octets. Each octet is a 8-bit address section. So 8 plus 8 plus 8 plus 8 becomes 32. And because it is 8-bit, the possible values are 0 to 255 only. So we have limited numbers of addresses over here, even if we say utilize the full capacity. Now there is a sample configuration which has been placed already, 10.1.0.0/16. What it means? It means that first 16 bits are already occupied, fixed. Only the remaining 16 bits are there which are allowed to be modified. If I say this is 24, it means 10.10, the first 3 sections, first 3 octets are fixed. Only the last octet is allowed to be modified. See here it says I have only 256 addresses possible. When I was having 16, it said I had 65,536 addresses available. You see? So this is very, very important. Depending on how many machines total you are going to put on the network, you will be setting up your address space. So for now, I go ahead with the default 10.1.0.0/16. And then there is subnet. If you have modified this, the subnet by default will be deleted. I have to click add subnet again. Let's say I name it as default. And the subnet address range has to belong to this. So it has to start with 10.1 compulsorily. Then what I want, I can put there. Let's say I'm looking for the first address space for the first network to start with .0 in the third position, and the fourth position should be modifiable. So here I say 10.1.0.0/24. So I have a subnetwork created where I can have 256 IP addresses for me, out of which 5 will be reserved for Azure services. Total of 251 addresses will be provided to me. 0, 1, 2, 3, and then 255. These are the 5 addresses which are reserved. I repeat, 0, 1, 2, 3, and 255. These are reserved for Azure. 4 to 254 I have for my own use. Then I say add. It's added. Click next. Security talks about how the access to this network will be provided. Firewall, do you want to enable on the network level, or you will be keeping the firewall configuration at the machine level? So for now, I am going ahead with disable because I don't have any firewall instance created. So I don't want any firewall at network level. I'll maintain the firewall at the machine level. DDoS is a service provided by most of the cloud providers to detect any denial of service attacks from the hackers and block them. I mean, if too many addresses are too many requests are coming from the same IP address in a short duration of time, that IP address automatically gets blocked if this is enabled. But for that, you need to purchase a service. I don't have one right now, so I'll just go ahead with disable. And then there is a service called as Bastion Host, which basically allows me to connect to the network even without opening any specific port. Just with the help of port 80 itself, I can get into the network. And port 80 is usually open, considered safe, because only the HTTP communication can happen on it. So it's good to have Bastion Host here. Let's say enable. When we say enable, we need to provide some details, like what would be the name of the Bastion host. I will say the name is Nemo Bastion. And then it requires a subnet address space of its own. I'll say use 10.1.255 0/16. Okay, this is having a conflict. Maybe I can say replace 255 with 1. Or make it 0. Say 24. Ten dot 1.1.0/24. Yeah, give this 10.1.1.0/24. A separate subnet I give only for the Bastion. It creates a server of its own, just like a security desk at the office premises. Anyone coming in, first of all, is stopped by the security desk, check the credentials, and then only allow or disallow. If some visitor is there, check the credentials, check if there is a meeting scheduled or not, and then allow or disallow, so that any unwanted connection will not be established. We need to give a public IP address also over here. So you can just click on create new.
Showing error, sir. Subnet address range is not contained in this virtual network's address space.
Did you provide the address space configuration correctly? Go to the previous tab, IP addresses. Here,
Yes.
IP address space must have 10.1.0.0/16.
Yes, sir.
And the subnet address must be having the default name as default and the address range as 10.1.0.0/24.
For me, it is like 10.0.0.0, sir.
Change it. Click on this and change it.
Here it is showing error, sir. The subnet address range is not contained in this virtual network address.
Can you share your screen?
Yes. Can you able to see, sir?
1 minute. I need to zoom it at my end.
You can try
Okay.
adding subnet once again.
Yeah. Click add subnet. Give the name as default. Then give the subnet address as 10.1.0.0/24.
Yes, sir.
Add. Next. Now,
Yes.
no error, right?
Yes. Thank you, sir.
Okay, so we were here. For public IP address, just click new, create new, and give some name. I'll say Bastion Pub IP is the name, because this public IP will be created for Bastion, to which the request will be coming, and then Bastion host will decide what to do with this request. Rest everything I will go with default and say next. Tags, say created by, created for, with respective values.
Excuse me,
Next.
sir.
Yes.
So could you just go back to security tab once? I just need to see the name of public IP address.
Bastion Pub IP it is.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Okay, sir. Got it. Thank you.
So once the validation is passed, just click on create.
So meantime, can you please once repeat like how we have to select that IP address and range?
Yes, so basically it all starts with your network planning. Whenever you say you are doing some network planning, tell me first of all what you will do. You will draw the diagrams, right? You will
Yes.
decide how many machines you are going to have, correct?
Yes.
It may not be correct that I will have fixed number of machines anytime. So I need to decide on a range. Am I right?
Yes.
0 to say 100 or 200 something, correct?
Yes.
So that's where the first thing comes in. How big is going to be my network? That will be the aggregate total of the estimated number of machines. That will decide my IP address space. What I should give. If I come to know that, okay, I need around 60,000 machines, the configuration we have given is correct. But if I know that only 600 machines are enough, I probably will downgrade the range.
Okay,
Which
we need to
suppose,
have approximate idea of number of
yes,
machines.
yes, you need to do estimation,
Okay.
right? So that's how you will decide your address space, correct? Because
Yes.
every machine, every appliance which needs an IP address will be occupying one IP address, right?
Yes.
So once you have the estimation, you can configure your address space correctly. Got my point?
Yes.
And then you need to define how many segments your network is going to have. At least one segment will always be there, right?
Yes.
But you may have more than one segments also, correct?
Segment means sub networks may have.
Subnetworks.
Okay.
And that will decide your subnet addresses, how many subnet addresses you create.
Okay.
Again, in each subnetwork, how many total machines you are expecting, how many IP addresses you are expecting. That estimation once again needs to be done. So what range you put there depends on this, correct?
Yes.
And then you come up with the final values. Understood?
Yes.
This is going to take some time as the Bastion host is actually a server and that requires some time to set itself up. Let's wait.
So what did you say was the reason why the deployment is taking so much time?
The Bastion basically we have configured here, right? Bastion host is a complete server in itself and any server would take some time to set up. If Bastion is not configured, it would have been completed long time ago. Okay?
Okay, sir.
Okay, so here the deployment is completed. Just say go to resource. I hope it's completed for you guys.
No, sir, not yet.
No,
Not
sir.
yet.
Okay.
Not yet.
So let's wait for a couple of minutes more. Is it finished for you?
Yes, sir.
Everybody?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so once you say go to resource, you will be on this dashboard, right?
Yeah.
Here you can also reconfigure the address space if you think you have made some mistake. You can see the total number of addresses which are available with your configuration displayed here. If you go to subnets here, two subnets it shows, one for Bastion it has created and the one that we created ourselves. And the address is available in all. Subnets are visible here as well. The aggregate total of this should be less than or equal to what the total we are getting over here. DDoS we didn't enable, but later on at some later stage, if we want, it can be enabled from here. We do have support for firewall configuration also. If we didn't configure it initially, but now we want, we can do it from here. Security features, recommendations basically can be seen over here. And then we have a tool called as Network Manager, which allows us to create a service that manages the network in automated mode and so on. So different features for different requirements. We need not get into the details of each and everything over here. This is something which usually your IT team is going to be interested in, as they will be setting up the servers and managing the servers. As a developer, address space subnet is what you need to know. Bastion is what you need to know. At the most, DNS servers in some specialized cases you need to know. Rest everything you can leave up to the IT team. Understood?
Yeah.
Let's close this blade now and get to the dashboard or the home screen. And then now I want to create a virtual machine with Windows Server installed into it. So I say create resource. Here you go to compute category, and there you have option called as virtual machine. Got it? Once you select virtual machine, you should be here. Yes, everyone on the screen?
Yes.
Select the subscription, select the resource group as Providence RG. Give the name to your virtual machine. I can give the name as demo VM. Select your region based on what you have been selecting so far. Availability options. There are three options rather. Oh, in fact, four options. No infrastructure redundancy required. Availability zone, availability set, and virtual machine scale set. If you go with the default, no infrastructure redundancy required, that means this machine will be created as a standalone server machine. There will be no backup, there will be no replicated server or something, the standby machine or something. So if this machine fails, it just fails. Understood?
Yes.
Then you have something called as availability zone. What is it? We discussed about zones, right? Your VM will be replicated on all the zones. So if one of the zone is down, the other zone is going to respond. So your VM will be available always. Availability set is something where your VM will be replicated within the same data center. If the VM running on one hardware, there the hardware itself fails, the VM will fail. Then it will move on to the second hardware set on which the VM instance is running, and it will respond. So availability set is something like LRS, and availability zone is something like ZRS. Okay, there is no GRS solution here. Then you have virtual machine scale set. What is it? This is in case if you don't know how much load is going to be there from the users, whether one server is capable of handling all the load, or you will need 3 instances or 30 instances. In that case, you go for scale set. You can say I start with 1 or 2 instances, and as per the load which is actually there, automatically the number of instances should increase or decrease anytime, depending on the usage of the resources. And the load balancer should be working in between. So the end user will be sending the request to one IP address only, that is of the load balancer, and that load balancer will decide which instance is going to be communicated with. You have options. So for practice here, as we are building a virtual machine for the very first time, we're not setting up a complex environment. We'll just go with the default option, no infrastructure redundancy required. Done? Yes?
Yes, sir.
Next, it is asking for security type. For now, go ahead with standard, because if you want to change this to something else, there are two things. One, you need to have those services enabled. The second thing is you will be paying more. Until and unless not required, we should not change the security type. Remember, this can be changed post deployment also. Next, it is asking for which particular configuration you want. There are some templates which are provided, which helps you set up the initial virtual machine quickly. So if I click on see all images, it is actually going to show me the exhaustive list of all combinations which I have, like Windows Server, then Red Hat Enterprise Linux, Debian, Ubuntu Server, LAMP, CentOS, different versions are there. Ubuntu, again, there are different versions. I must have Windows 10 also, and probably Windows 11 also, if I just keep on exploring this. Okay, so from that, one highly used or frequently used list is already created here only. I have Windows Server 2019 Data Center, Ubuntu Server 18.04 LTS, SQL Server 2019 Enterprise on Windows Server. This is a combo thing. It will be a Windows Server 2019 Data Center edition only, but in it, SQL Server 2019 Enterprise edition will come pre-installed. So I don't need to set it up. I do have CentOS. I do have Ubuntu Server, different versions. I do have SUSE Enterprise Linux, Red Hat Enterprise Linux, Oracle on Linux. This is like SQL on Windows. We have a combo. Debian 11, CentOS, and then Windows Server 2022 also I can see here is there. Windows 10 Pro is also there. I'm looking for Windows Server 2019 Data Center as of now. The default which was there. Select it. Then comes the size.
So we have Gen 2 in this. Is it okay?
You can change that by going to configure VM generation, and here you can explicitly select generation 1. Then
Yes, generation 1 is done.
so now you should have the same thing. Windows Server 2019 Data Center Generation 1. I tell you the difference. Generation 1 is something which used to be on the BIOS based systems, and Generation 2 is something which is based on what we call it, EFI based boot. There are two different boot technologies now, and Windows 11 onwards, Windows Server 2022 onwards, only EFI based will be supported. So in future, we will have only generation 2 or higher. Generation 1 will be dropped after some time. Understood?
Sir, so when we had like the latest 2022 data center generation 1, why didn't we take that which was 2019 version?
We can, but then the settings, the configuration will be slightly different according to the new technology or new platform. So basically the thing is, it will create confusion. That's why I wanted everyone to have the same thing. Understand? It doesn't take much time, but you are beginners right now. Right? Once you create several virtual machines, you will start understanding the differences yourself also. Got my point?
Yes, yes.
What is next? The size. Here, if you look at this, this is more about the configuration of the machine in terms of hardware, right? right?
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Now, if I'm sure it must not be the same for you. You may have some different configuration there. Is it correct?
So
Yes, we have the D series.
Is it same or different?
different.
Here, if you click on see all sizes, you should be able to see the different configurations which are available and their price per month as well. This is pro rata price. I will be paying this amount if and only if my machine is running 24/7 for the billing period. Do you get it? Yes.
Yes.
Let's make a search over here for A1. The list is filtered out. You see A series V2, right? There you can select A1 V2 explicitly. Select and click on select button. So now it will be the same for all of us. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Still, the pricing is higher in the our case.
There are two reasons for it. One could be because the region for you is different, and the second is your subscription is also different, right? Just like the same product, when we buy, you get it for a different price, I get it for different price depending on the negotiation and contract that we have with the seller, correct? Understood?
Yes, sir.
So these are the two reasons. Data center to data center, the cost is slightly different because taxation is different in all different countries. And then what kind of subscription you have? Usually the free subscriptions will have higher pricing, whereas the paid subscriptions will have little lower pricing because they are paying for it actually. Understood? Yes.
It depends on the subscription, right?
Yeah, it depends on the subscription and the region. I mean the data center region. Then it is asking for the username. This username will have all the admin rights for that virtual machine instance. I'll name it as OIPROV admin. And then some password which must be at least 12 characters in length, must have at least one capital letter, one small letter, one special character, and one numeric letter into it. Confirm password. And then it says whether you want to allow any inbound ports to be enabled. For security reasons, it's always good that you set none, provided you have enabled Bastion. And then if you already have a Windows Server license, in that case, you can check this box and can save some cost, as you will not be charged for the license. Almost 49% it gives you the discount. Understood? Yes? Click next. By default, it is picking up SSD standard with locally redundant storage for it. And here there is a checkbox. Should this disk be deleted along with the VM automatically, or only VM configuration should be deleted, the disk should be preserved? If it is a data disk, this is recommended to be unchecked. Here also, the VM configuration will be stored in encrypted format, where the encryption keys are going to be managed by the platform. If you want, you can change that to customer managed key also. Then we say next. I have to select the virtual
Excuse me, sir.
network. Yes.
Sir, in disks, we have not done any modifications, right?
No. No.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so here we have to select the network which this virtual machine will join. It's not going to be a challenge if your resource group is having only one virtual network. It will pick it up automatically. But if there are more than one virtual networks created, you have to pick it with care. Which VNet you want to join, and then the subnet which you want to join. Whether you want a public IP address to be allotted to this machine or not. Again, if external access is not expected from this machine, I will set none for the public IP. Network security. Yeah.
I'm not able to see the virtual network that I created, which was Pro VNet.
Are you sure you created that network in the same resource group?
Yeah.
If it is true, it should be appearing in the drop down. Here, in fact, the other resource group should also be visible along with the virtual network. See, I have another virtual network in another resource group that is also visible.
I got it. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Select your subnet. Bastion host subnet cannot be selected here, even if it is visible, because Bastion host can have only Bastion host. Public IP, I don't want to expose this machine to internet, so I say none. NIC network security group is basically the machine level firewall. I want the default Windows firewall to be working for me, so I go with the basic option. And then public inbound ports I'll keep none. I don't want any external connectivity to this machine. Rest of the things just leave default and click next. Under management tab, boot diagnostics value should be disabled. Usually while creating the machine for learning or for development or for research, you should keep this disabled. If you are creating the virtual machine for testing the final deployment or for the live usage, this should be enabled. The first option. Do you understand? Same is the case with enable OS guest diagnostics. For learning, for research, for development, this should be disabled. Managed identity is a different feature altogether, so let's not talk about it right now. In this case, Azure Active Directory integration is done actually. So these two are related features. Then there is a nice feature, enable auto shutdown. If this is enabled, you can specify the time at which it should be automatically shut down. Make sure it matches your time zone. So for us, it is UTC plus 5:30. Chennai, Kolkata, Mumbai, New Delhi. If you want to keep this. So every day 7 p.m. machine will be shut down automatically, saving my cost. If the server is going to be used only during office hours, I would like this to be there. And every day, half an hour before the office actually starts, some administrator has to start that machine manually. Though there is a way using Azure Test Labs platform, you can actually create a schedule for shutdown and restart from there. But that service again comes with an additional cost. This is free service. If you want the notification before the machine shuts down, like a confirmation that, okay, this machine is shutting down, you can check this box and provide the email ID. If not, you can uncheck. And if you want to enable an automatic backup for this machine, you can use this. Then you have to set the recovery services vault and all, which is again a chargeable service. So this should not be done until and unless you are not going for the live servers. For learning, research, development, testing, the backup is not needed. Guest OS updates, how they are going to update. I'm okay with automatic by OS. Your IT team may think otherwise. They might think that they want to test that update first of all on some test machine to verify that it doesn't break any existing implementation, and then they push it at their own end. So if that is the case, we have to change this. So for now, we'll keep it automatic. Say next. Here you can install any extensions like some extra tools or maybe some machine level firewalls or antivirus system by going to select an extension to install and install. But now I'm not looking for any. I'll just say next. Tags, I need not tell you what they are. Give the tags with values, next, and create. Once the validation is passed, create button will be active. Click on create.
Since there is a cost associated with all these creations of storage and VMs,
Yes.
where do we get the billing data from this whole dashboard?
On the left hand side, do you see cost management plus billing? If not here, you can go to all services and there you can search for cost management and billing.
Okay.
So here you get the chart, the dashboard. Okay.
Sir,
Yes.
after going on reviewing, I see my virtual network as new. When I earlier asked you, I just found my previous virtual network, but then I
Just go back and select that virtual network explicitly.
now I'm not able to see, sir. I did that.
Share your screen. Let me see what's going on. So guys, for whom the deployment has been started can go for the lunch break. We'll resume at 2:20. And the next steps we'll see after the break only, because this is going to take some time. It's a machine being set up, right? Okay, Samriti, give me a moment. It's visible. I just zoom it at my end. Okay, can you click on virtual network? Both it is showing as new only, right? Can you open another tab? Portal. Go to resource groups on the left hand side. Go to your resource group. You have Pro VNet already defined, right? Click on that. Bastion is also there. Okay. Click on address space.
Copy.
No, address space on left side.
Yeah.
Okay. Click on subnets. Fine. Now go back to your previous tab. Go to the first tab, basics. Same resource group you have selected, right?
Yeah.
Virtual machine name, region,
Same.
East
Perfect.
US.
Yeah. Sam. Yeah. Same.
Availability options, no infrastructure redundancy. Scroll down. Standard A1 V2, you got it. Username, password, that's fine. Come down. None. Come down. Next. Standard SSD, that's fine. Scroll down. Next. And this is where the networking is. Was it possible? Can you just cancel this and start recreating the VM?
Yeah.
Just close. Right. I mean, on the right hand side, you have cross button. Refresh the portal first. Select the resource group. A1 V2. None. Next. Next.
Still not able to see.
Just go back. Is it like there are two subscriptions, so it's creating some problem? Go to
Dashboard.
basics. Yeah, go to dashboard. Go to resource groups. You have the ProvNet here. Resource group. That's a very strange behavior. Click on that, someone. You have the VNet there. You do have the storage account also, right?
No.
Okay. Just delete this everything. Select all and say delete. It will take some time, but at least we should have the solution.
So we
Possibly some configuration is conflicting there.
yeah. I was trying to look at the usage details of this particular subscription also, but I'm not able to see that as well. It is
Mhm.
still going back to the previous sponsorship.